Trouble. The Trouble in Paradise podcast is. The Trouble in Paradise podcast is intended for mature audiences. This means you will hear realistic adult language such as and go talk. Audience discretion is advised.
What is knob polishing?
You're gonna make me say this. I am a neglected man.
I like to think that I look like a jack, even though my name's really Bob.
Does he have danglers or something?
Well, it's time to go do them lighthouse duties.
Sitting in the cheese at the old Walmart to cool off.
That should be the headline. Man tasered in the nuts after stealing beef.
Yeah, but you're not gonna sit in the cheese. You're not gonna sit in the cheese, and you're not gonna put ribeyes down your pants either.
House cleaning is secondary. So what is the Viagra triangle?
Possibly we aid in your digestion.
I don't know if his little hand is smaller than his little ears or what.
Aw, well maybe he has a syndrome.
Want to go check out my RV? It's parked right around the corner. Because I'm pretty sure that I saw some moose knuckle.
No.
There is absolutely some moose knuckle going on.
My swampy friend. What the hell is a swampy friend?
I know. So they're not going to get any scraping on their shaft.
Yes, I'm going to do a downward dog.
Okay, pretty lady. You had on those gosh darn sexy leather looking shorts.
Ladies and gentlemen, and assholes, gather round. It's time for another action-packed episode of
Trouble in Paradise.
Hi, I'm Nigel Kent.
And I'm Jazmine Starr.
And welcome to Trouble in Paradise,
the podcast that covers politics to the paranormal, conspiracy theories to crazy Karens, and all the weird news in between from our studios in Southwest Florida.
And boy, oh boy, is there some weird news going on.
You telling me?
And the news is really, really good and really, really mixed. The best news of the evening is that we have our lovely, loved, and wonderful co-host Jazmine Starr back in the action after a difficult time.
Yeah.
Jazmine was, well, why don't you tell our audience about it before we dive deep here?
I did my own deep diving into life. I went to the hospital last Monday on the 5th, I believe it was, and thought I just had a migraine headache, and it turned out to be encephalitis, which was not very good. I'm still recovering, so Nigel's got the reins tonight, and I'm just gonna pitch in here and there as a willing participant here. But we've got a lot of cool stuff, though, to celebrate today, too.
We sure do. We actually have a pretty awesome outline of crap to talk about. We got the live chat going,
Yeah.
and let's talk about some of the things that we're going to go through this
All right.
evening on episode 46.
46.
46.
Yeah.
It only took us 3.5 weeks to get back on track, but
I know. Thank you guys for sticking with us.
I'm just really glad that you're okay, and I'm glad you're back.
Thank you.
Glad I'm back in the saddle. Okay. Well, here's what we're going to talk about tonight. We've got a Florida man story about, or an only in Florida story about a man who decided he was going to take his AR-15 to Disney World.
Oh, boy. I've missed a lot, apparently.
Yeah, so we're going to try to get inside that guy's noggin for a minute. We have to talk about President Trump's incredible tweet from a couple days ago, where he posted a meme called, well, we'll get to it. It's hilarious, and it comes at Joe Biden's expense, which makes it all that much more entertaining. There's this other thing that's been on my mind a lot lately as we talk about this nasty period of censorship that we're going through right now with big media. That censorship includes organizations such as Twitter, YouTube. Just in the last week, 2 key accounts that we follow and interact with have been...
There's some major accounts.
Big time. X22 Report, Praying Medic, for Pete's sake. The guy's he's a healing advocate. He's the most good-natured guy on the planet. I can't believe that they destroyed his channel off YouTube, but you know what? All that's going to do is give way to bigger and better and more open platforms that actually permit for free speech.
Well, and Martin Geddes also removed from the platform as well.
Yeah.
That's a huge loss.
Yeah, it is. Basically, anybody that touches the Q stuff is getting whacked now really hard.
Right.
You're
almost afraid to even talk about it or say it. And this is America, and we have the freedom of speech. And it's really sad that this is happening.
Well, we're going to have to understand as Americans that these are not free speech platforms. These are controlled speech platforms. Yeah. Just like social clubs are controlled speech platforms.
Right, but everywhere we look right now, it seems like there's this, everything is being controlled in every aspect of life. And
they've hamstrung the White House. I can't wait for the lawsuits to start flying.
But where do you even begin? Where do you even begin? The way that all of this has changed lately, and it's just...
Well, here's the most disturbing thing about it. They want to take the central financial monetary system and turn over its index of value to a digital currency that's controlled by the same assholes that are kicking everybody off of YouTube and Twitter and so on. which is going to lead to something called monetary censorship or financial censorship, which we're going to talk about as well.
Right. But, it's like, at what point, what do we do as citizens, and where does it stop?
Well, I know.
And where are we going to end up? And that's really the scary part of all of this.
Well, you know what the founding fathers did when King George was stepping on their freedom of speech and their taxation, taxing them without representation. They decided they were going to get some bullets out and start blowing people away. And that's how we got our country. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but
I hope
know
not either.
There's a lot of people that want the boogaloo.
But you know what? This isn't even just a problem here in the United States. This is a global.
This is a worldwide problem. Yes.
Everybody wants to focus on this being centered around the election, and yes, there definitely is things that are centered around the election, but this is a global problem. We're seeing this everywhere, and it's like, it leaves you really wondering what and who the powers are behind at play here.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody I think there's consensus on who the powers are. But,
right. But the overall direction, it leaves a lot of uneasiness for people.
Yeah. Well, for people who want a dissenting point of view represented, it's terrible. Mm-hmm. For people who want to feel good and feel secure and not worry about things and believe this picture that's been painted, they're fine with it.
Yeah.
The liberals do not care that all of the conservatives and QAnons are getting kicked off of Twitter. They just don't care.
They don't care, but wait until they see what really happens after if things don't go the way that...
Well, in a void of dissent, there's going to be a whole lot of...
I say it all the time, the smoke and mirrors, boy, you wait until, like, if... Oh, I don't even want to get into what I foresee.
I don't either. But we are going to talk about something else, and that's that Kayleigh McEnany is a monster.
I love her.
We're going to come back to that because she tweeted something that complements what you just said about the powers that are controlling all this censorship. And then Ice Cube, of all people, is being censored because he has not joined the Republican Party, not espoused Republican voting, but just merely dared people to think for themselves.
Oh, and really?
Yeah. So
he's on the chopping block for asking people to just think rationally and think for themselves and do their own research.
Yep. So
heaven forbid. Why would anyone get deplatformed or...
So CNN canceled an interview between him and Andrew Cuomo because of a video that has now been removed from Twitter.
Wow.
Which was posted on the 11th, which is, I guess, about almost a week ago. Mm-hmm. They're calling it Ice Cube getting red-pilled. I'm not so sure about that, but he definitely is not endorsing the Biden-Harris ticket, and that's a huge problem.
And if he's not endorsing the Trump-Pence ticket, then he's not red-pilled either. He's just simply looking and asking questions like anybody should do, regardless of what party you're affiliated with.
True. There's a lot of people that are red-pilled that hold their nose when they vote for Trump, though, and I'm one of them. But at any rate, he's not red-pilled at all. And then, of course, we like to keep things fresh on Trouble in Paradise. And so tonight, in order to celebrate the birthday of one of our favorite people,
yes,
we have brought along the Wheel of Precious Fritos, which we're going to spin, and we are going to spin it. It's going to tell us how many Fritos we have to eat, and then we have to get to 55 Fritos to honor the birthday of our good friend, Precious Frito.
Yeah.
Hope we didn't reveal too much there about him, but
no.
So we also have some cupcakes that we're
we do. These are in his honor as well. We've got cupcakes in the studio tonight.
Yep. That's what we're looking at.
Because we love Libras.
But before we get we love Libras. I in particular do. I might, if he was here, I might give him a hug that lasted a little too long.
Love it.
In the meantime, Jasmine, why don't you tell everybody how to get a hold of Trouble in Paradise?
Yes.
Stretch it out a little.
To get a hold of us, you can reach us at Tipcast239 on Twitter, Trouble239 on Instagram, trouble@trouble239.com to email us. Trouble in Paradise on YouTube. Audio versions on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Stitcher. And check out our Patreon at patreon.com/trouble239.
We also would like to, as we usually do, give a great shout out to our friends Ken and Lauren over at the Paradise After Dark podcast.
Absolutely.
We were going to have dinner with them for Ken's birthday until
Another Libra.
Yeah, encephalitis interfered with that plan.
Yeah.
But,
I wouldn't have been much conversationalist. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So if you're out there watching live, jump on the live chat, interject.
Let us know you're here.
We are going to dive straight in to this. We have to talk about the Only in Florida because this one is really blowing my mind. And let me jump this thing over to studio mode here, Jasmine Star, so that we can act like a professional outfit for Pete's sake.
Oh my goodness.
It's terrible. Just
well,
terrible.
while you're fiddling with that, I'm just going to let people know that I'm also available for, we just opened up my website for private readings.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to naplespsychic.com, you can find my information on there. And if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can do so.
Yep, naplespsychic.com. Check that out, everybody. And open for business.
Open
Jasmine
for
Star.
business. Yes.
So this story is about a dude who decided that he was going to bring his AR-15 and 2 guns, apparently.
Oh, wow.
To Disney. Because
Has he ever been to Disney before?
Let's find out. This is a Fox News article. This is I guess this is only 3 days old, so it's not really old news. But
wow.
You know, Only in Florida stuff never gets old. So,
no.
Florida father brings guns to Disney World to ensure family safety. Man had 2 guns and 110 rounds of ammo. Was concerned about riots and civil unrest. Okay, who's the frickin' college graduate that wrote this run-on sentence? Man had 2 guns and 110 rounds of ammo, was concerned about riots and civil unrest.
Okay, well, first of all, if you're concerned about that, then why in the hell are you taking your family out to Disney?
Exactly. A father of 2 in Florida, jeez, brought an AR-15 rifle, a Sig Sauer 9mm handgun.
Oh, come on, go for the 45.
And 100 rounds of ammunition to Walt Disney World to ensure his family's safety, the Orange County Sheriff's Office said this week. According to an officer's report, a bellman noticed the AR-15 in a tennis bag as he loaded the family's bags onto a luggage cart. Police were notified, and when they questioned the man, he told them he drove up from Palm Spring Gardens to Disney World with the rifle and pistol for, quote, safety because of the riots and civil unrest going on.
Okay, I could see traveling with it, but...
Yeah. Well, okay, I guess he was probably checking into the hotel. They said bellman, so it's not like he took it into the park.
Well, so that's misleading, the thing, because
misleading.
it makes you think that he's going in with
toting a rifle around the Magic Kingdom.
Right, when you know that there's the metal detectors and all of that crap you have to go through. So, yeah, a little misleading. Thanks, Fox.
The man cooperated with police and didn't break any laws, as he had a concealed carry license. But,
right.
But Disney World does not allow guns on its property. Yeah, I bet they own some, though. I'm sure they have private security that has guns.
Absolutely.
Our policy is clear that weapons of any kind are not allowed at our resort, regardless of whether someone has a permit, a Disney spokesperson told Fox News. It should probably be better communicated then to people. I feel like this guy...
I don't know that I've ever visited and read that as part of staying on property.
No, I've never. I've been to Disney World a couple of times. I've been to Disney World resorts a couple of times. I never go to like the Magic Kingdom. I always go to the Hollywood Studio and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't ever remember, explicitly reading a gun ban.
No.
So, who could blame him?
Yeah.
Especially if he's taking it into a hotel.
Right.
Like all this shit that's going on, man. I kind of don't blame him. Anyway, protests against police brutality in Central Florida earlier this summer were reignited by the August death of Salathis Melvin, a black man shot in the back by a sheriff's deputy. Most protests have been peaceful, but some have turned into riots with vandalism and looting. Protesters blocked 2 buses chartered by the NBA as they tried to enter Disney World, where the league held games in a bubble this season. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
That's kind of an unrelated final paragraph, though.
Right.
Let's make sure we give a shout out to the NBA so we can link a hot topic. Good clickbait there.
Yeah,
Fox
whatever.
News. So it's interesting that they didn't even identify the dude in the story. Clearly,
Right. Well, and they said they just kind of hung on to them until it was time for them to check out. So,
speaking of Disney World, I mean, they were essentially closed for about, 2.5 months at the beginning of COVID?
no, I don't know how
From
long it was.
mid-March until, when did I think they reopened sometime in August, right?
I mean, I'm not sure.
I mean, how many millions of dollars do you think they lost during that time? And how many employees do you think they laid off? Had to be in the thousands.
I don't know.
So one thing
Okay.
that really that I learned about meningitis and encephalitis while Jazmine was in the hospital is that thinking literally hurts. I can't imagine having I'm thought of something, but it really hurts the more you have to think, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, sometimes you ask me questions and I'm just like, oh no. You know? That's why I said I'm just going to be the peanut gallery tonight and chime in as I can.
Oh, you're going to be the peanut gallery tonight. Got it. So, what do you say we spin the wheel of precious Fritos?
All right.
And again, just a quick recap. Our goal tonight with the wheel of precious Fritos is to eat 55 Fritos, which doesn't sound like a whole lot until you consider that the serving size of Fritos is actually only 32. And I read that tonight. As always on the precious
I
wheel
knew
of
you were going
precious
to say
Fritos.
this. Ladies first.
Ladies first. And around it goes. And that was a pretty strong spin. And, one Frito.
One Frito.
One Frito. So Jasmine Star is about to consume one precious Frito. All right, and I'm going to give
So
a spin.
ridiculous.
Are you keeping a tally of how many Fritos we've eaten? Oh, I hit one as well. This is going to take a minute. So I'm going to eat one precious Frito.
Oh, this is in honor of we love you, in honor of your birthday.
It landed on 0.
All right.
All right, one more spin, and then we'll move on to the next story. And the wheel says 0 for me as well. So right now we have a grand total of 2 precious Fritos down the hatch. Moving on. Did you see the President Trump's tweet about Joe Biden?
You sent that to me when I was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a little uplifting humor.
I hope it didn't hurt your head when you laughed, because I know laughing is another thing you were having a hard time with there.
This was pretty good. I just don't know. Like, when you're the president and you sit around and you're like, you know what? I'm going to tweet this. I love it.
You know, I think he has a social media team.
Well,
I think he has direct oversight. But this is classic.
oh, it's so bad, but it's so funny.
So
like,
they've taken the Joe, for people listening on the podcast, we're looking at a meme here where they've taken the Joe Biden for President logo, crossed out the P in the word president, and then there's a superimposed Joe in the midst of a crowd of wheelchair-bound elderly people gathered in a meeting room. It looks like at a
Yeah.
home. So Biden for resident.
Oh, geez. Now, did you happen to see there was I don't know if it was one of it, like if he even calls them rallies or what, but he was like, look at all the supporters. And it was like a bunch of like what we would call snowbirds here.
You're talking about
It was
Trump
like
or Biden?
Biden. It was a sea of golf carts, and when I say a sea, I mean there were probably 12.
You're talking about the one
But-
they had up there in the Villages, just northwest of Orlando. Where
I don't know where they were,
there was
but
like 7 or 8 golf carts with Biden signs on
and they
them.
were like all excited. They were like, "Hey!" And it was like, that's nothing to be so excited about.
They live in the Villages. I mean, they may identify more with Sleepy Joe than than with Donald Trump.
Well, after this meme came out, they're probably like trying to send it home like the welcoming party. Like, you have arrived at the Villages.
Yeah. It's the last place you'll ever live.
Yes. Welcome to Florida.
Well, they do call Florida God's waiting room. Or
Well-
heaven's waiting room or whatever.
Well, God bless him.
So so the Trump machine on Twitter, just again mercilessly blowing away the Biden campaign. Unbelievable.
But yeah, it's if you laugh at it or comment on it, then we can run the risk of getting in trouble.
Well, we don't want that. This other thing that I came across that was really disturbing to me was the guidelines for Halloween activities posted by Mayor Mike Dugan of Detroit. And when I was reading through this, I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is absolutely draconian. Not only are these, they're trying to basically destroy everything and redefine all of our cultural institutions by using this medical. It's basically a crutch for their argument.
Oh my God! And look at that. Okay, for anybody that's listening, on the guidelines, they also have carved pumpkins.
These are the Detroit guidelines for Halloween activities.
So under the low risk
category,
you're going to see a pumpkin with a big smiley face and nice and happy. And then moderate risk is a bit more seedy looking, like...
It is a mischievous pumpkin.
Right. And then the high risk, please avoid...
Looks like a retarded sick pumpkin.
It looks like a pumpkin that is like just absolutely like appalled and just like
aghast.
I know. I'm like, not only this is so, I'm sorry, this is so stupid.
All right, so what they've done is the city of Detroit apparently and Mayor Mike, who's he's a Democrat, but he's a white liberal Democrat, and I honestly
Mayor Mike for ever thinking this is good.
Yeah. He's also one of the whitest people I've ever heard talk. Like, how he got elected in the city of Detroit blows my mind, because that is one of the blackest demographics probably outside of Philadelphia in the entire country.
He talks whiter than me.
He doesn't talk whiter than you, but he's a very, for a Detroiter, he's incredibly Caucasian-ish. And is that fair to say? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, I can say that because I'm a Caucasian, I believe.
And you lived in Detroit.
I did. That's where I grew up. 21 years in the Motor City.
But, when I played with the Detroit Chalk and everything, I knew I was definitely out of my element.
Well, you were out of your element in the WNBA because there was only, 22% of all female professional basketball players in the WNBA were of non-African American heritage.
Right.
But you played for two full seasons, or
no, just one, and then I started the second season before it ended.
Okay, that's right. You had the situation happened. Yeah. I forgot.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on from that. That's
okay. Yeah. Back to Mayor Mike.
Yeah, Mayor Mike. So Mayor Mike recommends the following low risk activities for Halloween. Celebrate outdoors.
Okay, don't we do this already?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good recommendation, right? I like to celebrate outdoors on Halloween as long as it's not raining too hard or snowing, as the case may be up there. Pumpkin decorating or carving. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean, you could slice your finger off, but let's go ahead and call it low risk.
Right.
Decorate the outside of your residence.
Ooh.
No, don't decorate the inside.
No.
Because that's the case.
No.
Decorate the outside of your residence. Halloween scavenger hunt with items that can be seen outdoors. What?
I spy with my little eye.
This is like, wow, they're telling you how to do Halloween in Detroit. And then they recommend hold a virtual Halloween contest.
F you. I am over this.
Okay, time out. What is a Halloween contest? Are they talking about a
A costume contest. Yeah,
why don't they call it a costume contest? Why do they have to call it a Halloween contest?
because somebody not so intelligent wrote this.
Let's all put a webcam on our bucket and bob for apples on Zoom. Woo!
Well,
Let's do that on
that's what I was looking at. Bobbing for apples isn't even on like the high risk thing. And okay,
I know.
did you pick up on that, or am I the only one that picked up on
I don't know.
that?
Maybe they don't bob for apples anymore. I mean, you remember bobbing for apples, right?
Yeah, that's what you did on.
It's like trying to
Halloween.
eat a donut off a string that's too tall for you.
Oh, I miss stuff like that,
Yeah,
man.
nobody
That's
does that
good
stuff, yeah.
kid stuff.
Okay, then they recommend the following low-risk activity. Watch a scary Halloween movie in your home by yourself with a mask on, socially distanced. Trick-or-treat search or scavenger hunt inside your home. They call that low risk, right?
Okay, that's happens in my house every day when I ask the boys to find their socks. Okay, that's not fun for Halloween.
You know what? A scavenger hunt.
Go find your socks.
You know what we're going to do?
Where's a clean pair of underwear?
Instead of trick-or-treating this year, boys, guess what we're going to do?
We're gonna have a
You're going
scavenger.
to go find all your fucking socks that are lost. Right?
Who can find a pair of clean underwear first?
Okay, so that's the low risk. Moderate risk now. There's a separate category now that the city of Detroit recommends moderate risk. Also recommended.
Okay.
Okay, so low risk and moderate risk,
So
both
if you're-
recommended.
So if you're feeling a little frisky on your Halloween night, these are acceptable.
Now, apparently, this is supposed to prevent the Rona, right? They don't want any children getting the Rona because, first of all, children get the Rona all the time.
I like the way you just trilled your R there. The Rona.
I can't do it.
You did
It
just now.
just sounded like Cardi B.
Until you tried, but
Rona.
The Rona.
Ah, that's nice. How long can you roll your R? How many seconds can you do it?
I'm not going to do it right now. I'll do it on another time.
Fine. Moderate risk activities for Halloween. City of Detroit Mayor Mike Dugan. Grab and go goodie bags that are lined up and ready to go. Okay.
Okay. In
What is-
Detroit, how long do you think a grab and go line is going to last?
Let me ask you something. If I got that Rona and I'm making a grab and go goodie bag for a child,
Right.
and I set that grab and go goodie bag and the child grabs it, is that better somehow than just handing them candy? Like, what does the bag do? Does that help with the Rona? Does it disinfect the candy that I'm touching?
No.
Okay. And then
Unless you leave them out in the sunlight, and then that'll kill it.
well, nobody. I mean, okay, that's the other thing too. This trick or treating during the day. That shit has got to go. I mean, you remember trick or treating when we were kids, right?
Yeah, you had to wait until it got dark.
It couldn't be light out
No, man.
because that took away the creepiness of it. Like it was
Oh.
supposed to be.
It was supposed to be scary.
Yes.
And especially like up north when the leaves were dropping and they were dry and they would start blowing and everything.
And it was chilly. It would be chilly.
Yeah.
Like 40s, maybe
Yeah.
maybe lower. Yeah.
You know, that really put a damper in it once you got to be older. That's where it became advantageous to live in Florida because you couldn't wear those Leg Avenue Halloween costumes up north and not freeze your tush off.
True. So, I mean, you had to, you know what though?
Yeah.
Your teeth were chattering by the time you got home.
Right.
It was 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
You had gone up and down every block of the good neighborhoods where they
Right.
handed out the best stuff. Except for
Yeah.
that one asshole that handed out apples and that other asshole that handed out masking tape with 3 pennies in it. Remember that guy?
No.
You ever get one of those?
No, I always like if you got like the toothbrush person. You're like, screw you, man. This is Halloween, man. Where's the sugar?
That's the dentist, though. That's the guy that's like the dental technician. He's like, well, I got
No,
I got
that's-
48,000 extra toothbrushes from the swag bag. I'll just give those out.
That's the house that you went to, and in the morning for breakfast, they would say, "What do you want for breakfast?" And you would say, "I want pancakes," and they would say, "ADD on a platter."
Ooh.
That's the house that gives
Zing.
you. That's the house that gives you
Zing.
toothbrushes.
ADD on a platter. It's true, though. Bisquick, man, don't eat that shit. It gives you ADD. Okay, ADD doesn't exist, by the way. Hyperactivity is really actually what it is. But anyway, they also recommend in Detroit, host an outdoor Halloween movie night. I mean, God forbid you watch a movie in your own house. You have to do it outdoors when it's 38 degrees in Detroit and it's getting ready to snow in 2 days. Okay, because that's anybody that's been to the Great Lakes knows what I'm talking about. So those are the moderate risk.
Right.
Now, they also recommend, and I love this one, it's Halloween. Always remember, wear a mask on Halloween. I can't
either.
Wash your hands or use hand sanitizer. Okay.
That's going to be the next one. Instead of like the toothbrush people, you're going to have people that are going to hand out little bottles of Purell.
Yeah, they're going to be giving out hand sanitizers.
Yeah, here you go. Trick.
You know what would be cool is if there was like grown-up Halloween where people would just give out like grown-up stuff.
Well,
like gift cards.
In my old neighborhood, they had a couple houses that had like jugs, like that would be on the high risk category now because they had like
you could take a swig of somebody's
adult punch. It was like, so if you needed that.
Yeah, I remember that too. And they would put dry ice in it so that it would look like witch's brew.
Well, and it was like that, like you've survived taking your kids this far around the neighborhood, so here's a little treat for you, so you can continue to keep on your journey.
Yeah.
But I'm sober, so I never got to partake in that, but I think it's a genius idea.
Well, I mean, I think about adult Halloween. They would hand out like,
Jello shots, maybe like little taster bottles, maybe, some cheap antidepressants. Throw a nip in the bag.
There may or may not be some herb in there,
like 420.
Maybe that sort of herb, or maybe it's just basil,
like hazel
the basil. So now Detroit also recommends that you avoid the following high risk activities,
and this is the horrified pumpkin,
as evidenced by this horrified jack-o'-lantern. He looks like he's watching somebody
be murdered.
Yes. Yeah.
Like he's just witnessed a crime. That kid just went up and did traditional door-to-door trick-or-treating. Ah!
Okay, so don't do traditional door-to-door trick-or-treating. That's against the rules.
Don't go trunk-or-treat.
Don't go to trunk-or-treat.
What's the difference between grab-and-go bags and a trunk-or-treat?
None. There is none. They want to prevent large gatherings, though. That's the thing. So a trunk-or-treat would be a gathering of lots of people in a relatively small place.
Yeah. Okay. There's no difference whatsoever between
still 6 foot distancing.
I mean, if you park your cars a certain distance apart, you're still going to run the risk of the same number of people coming up to your trunk versus coming up to get your grab and go bag, which is supposedly safe.
Jazmine Star. Yeah. Can I say this? Can I say something controversial?
Go ahead.
The whole thing is fucking bullshit. Okay.
Yeah.
Avoid indoor costume parties and indoor haunted house events. Oh, man.
That really sucks because I love haunted houses.
Here's another one. Now, this one's real specific, right? Avoid hay rides and tractor rides, except with people in your own household. Okay.
If Grandpa's driving the tractor, it's all right if you go out on the hay ride with him. But if anybody else, if it's a stranger and you're going out to, like, let's say somebody like Farmer Mike's, you can't do that.
Well, that pretty much eliminates the possibility of going to any hayride, because how many people actually run their own tractor? Like, I mean, I understand where you're from. Back in Pennsylvania and Indiana, you can run your own tractor. That's commonplace, right, with country music and Kenny Chesney and all that. But in Detroit, people don't have
tractor's sexy.
People don't have tractors in the
really
Motor City.
Turns me on.
And then, of course, to your point, the final recommendation from Mayor Mike Dugan, City of Detroit Democrat, is Avoid alcohol or drugs, which can lead to risky behaviors.
You know what else would be risky right now?
Like, nobody's going to go party on Halloween, right? Especially when it's on an actual Saturday for a change. What's risky?
I think spinning the wheel of precious Frito would be a risky...
Yes. Well, we only have 2 Fritos down the hatch. We have to get to 55. So Jazmine has just spun the wheel of precious Fritos, and she has to eat...
Oh, no. Oh, no.
14
no,
Fritos.
No! Oh, my God.
Hey, that's going to catch us up in a hurry. I'm going to start counting them out for you. Here, put your hand out.
Okay.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah, there's...
4, 5, 6.
I can't believe this.
7, 8, 9, 10,
Oh, my God.
11, 12, 13, 14 Fritos. All right, going down the hatch. Jazmine,
You mark them
start.
down while I... You mark them down while I work
14.
on this. Oh, my gosh. Oh, wow. Oh.
Don't choke, please. We don't want to have the first choking death on YouTube history here. This is such is your dedication. Such is your dedication. Precious Frito. Jazmine sending you a message from her heart right now. She wants to get through this because she's been eyeballing this thing.
Oh, my God.
Look at the green. It's going into the background. Green screen fun. Okay, so you just had 14 Fritos in one bite. How did that go?
They barely fit in my mouth. Like, my mouth was full.
All right, my turn.
Yeah.
Spinning the wheel. Let's see what we get. Looking for 0. Looking for 0.
That's not fair.
Oh.
15.
Count them out, babe.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
15 Fritos I'm about to eat. We're going to be to 55
1,
Fritos in no time
2,
here.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Stop finding all the big
10,
ones.
11, 12, 13. Those were attached. 14. And, oh, that one was attached. 15.
15 Fritos. Here we go.
It's it's a lot. Oh, you dropped one. That's not fair. You have to take one more. I'm marking off your 15.
That's a lot of Frito taste in my mouth.
20. We're at 29 Fritos.
We're not even... No, we're a little over halfway there.
We're a little over halfway.
Okay.
Should we do one more spin since those were big hits?
If I have to eat 15 Fritos again right now, here we go.
Come on, we got to do this. He has been so dedicated to our show that we owe him this.
Well, you're about to eat 16 Fritos, so... Oh,
What?
it landed on 0. Oh, boy. You lucked out on that one, Jazmine Star.
14 barely fit in my mouth.
All right, so here's my spin, and I am going to get... Okay, 1 Frito, please. Thank you.
You're welcome. We are at 30 Fritos.
Okay. We've just consumed 30 Fritos between the two of us. And after that appetizing discussion about how to not get the Rona in Detroit on Halloween, thanks to the mayor and his cavalcade of experts about not getting the Rona, do we want to talk a little bit about... let's talk about the Rona. Let's actually go into that subject because I want to hit on this Zero Hedge article that I read a couple of days ago while I was surfing through Twitter.
Well, I got to get that test too when I was in the hospital.
What, that Rona test?
Yeah.
Man, how did that Rona test go?
It is effing awful.
Describe the sensations.
I don't want to downplay anybody who has
Experienced the actual Rona.
has gotten one, but I can tell you when you have encephalitis and things are generally inflamed, I just want to say maybe I'm not.
It puts pressure on your brain.
Like maybe my reaction was a bit wuss-like. And I try to be tough. I try to be
tough.
very stoic, but I think there may have been some swatting. I wasn't in my right mind, and I definitely could feel the blood that was involved in it. It was terrible, absolutely terrible. I feel bad for these people that are getting tested for no reason every single week.
Yeah.
And my test was negative. Imagine that. That you could have some kind of an illness
given
than
the
the
actual
Rona.
margin of error on those PCR tests for corona specifically, which is somewhere between 50 and 80%, or at least it was a few months ago, it's possible that you had a false negative.
F you, man. I did not have the Rona. I had none of the symptoms.
I did not have that Rona.
No.
No, you had something actually probably, frankly, far worse and actually far deadlier.
I know I did, and I'm not recovered from it yet.
So, yeah, it's a serious neurological infection.
Yeah.
And
And
anyway.
the best way to go about treating it is to eat Fritos and cupcakes and celebrate you.
So, yes. Well, you know what? We've been looking forward to getting back to our friend,
Yeah.
Precious Frito.
And I really...
I have a feeling he's watching the president's address right now.
Yeah. He'll get on here later and be like, "What? I missed all."
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, hopefully. We have a lot of.
Pardon me for belching too.
You belched?
I did. It was. I think it was silent, but if it came across the audio,
There goes all the people that want an actually well-produced program. The last 3 people in our audience. You're like, screw it, she's belching. I'm out.
it was the last that big batch of Fritos that got me.
I know.
So what does Zero Hedge have?
So Zero Hedge, Tyler has posted this story on the 14th of October, which is I started reading through it, and the guy made some damn good points about the way Corona was handled on the global stage and kind of the connections between what was reported and what the actuality of the global outbreak was.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a quote from realclearmarkets.com. So Tyler it's a repost from him, but we should probably have given full credit to Real Clear Markets, but I found it on Zero Hedge, and he posts a lot of great stuff. So it says, with the coronavirus, the most frustrating counterfactual of all is to think about how much better off we all would have been if politicians had done nothing. Stop and think about it for a minute. The more desperate the situation, the more freedom makes sense.
That's a powerful statement. Wow.
The reality is that well before the needless lockdowns began, Americans had started to adjust their behavior. This included staying at home for some. Notable about this is that it was in the U.S. states that locked down the latest that citizens adjusted the most. In a global sense, it was reported by the great Holman Jenkins that the supply of masks had run out before major action by Merkel et al. In Germany. People get it. They don't need a law. Fear of sickness or death concentrates the mind. Remember how restaurants started to clear somewhat before the lockdowns? People were adjusting. Imagine if businesses, including restaurants, had been left free to meet the needs of customers, or not at all. Free of business tips from those who brought us the DMV. Yeah. The regulators and lawmakers, right? The governmentalists.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt some businesses would have gone under amid fear of the virus, but they were already going under before that, particularly retail. And that's a real good point, because Amazon's been murdering the retail business now for a couple of years.
Yeah, this unfortunately set it up for some of those
it's like the final punch in the gut.
Yeah, for some of these struggling businesses, especially family-owned, and it was devastating.
So
Still is.
Unless you offer services that Amazon cannot procure, or that Walmart cannot procure reasonably, you're in trouble.
Right.
So Amazon still doesn't cut hair. They still don't fix bicycles. They still don't mow your lawn. They want to. They want to do all that crap. But
right.
So it says, remember all the hand-wringing about Amazon and the internet hollowing out shopping malls? While the nail-biters will eventually regret the association of their names with such alarmism,
Well,
the reality in a dynamic economy is that the roster of names in shopping malls and town centers is constantly changing anyway.
and I just want to interject, when people start to think about the change that's happened as a result of the shutdown, think about how long this has already kind of been in transition, where we used to have around Thanksgiving, then we had Black Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then in order to compete...
And Black Friday is even a relatively new thing. It's a progressive thing. It's only for the last 30 years or so.
And then all of a sudden, then they added Cyber Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, so once Cyber Monday started, so this is kind of like the picture that I want to paint here, is that, where people want to point the blame at some of the shutdown being a result of these businesses, which no doubt did affect them. Some of these factors with some of these like Amazon and some of these other distributors, they were already underway whenever you start to think how much they were already pushing online shopping.
They definitely wanted this to happen. There's no
So,
doubt.
I mean, it was
and
like...
it wasn't eBay either.
It was the
eBay's
perfect...
not in the NWO club at all. It was Amazon.
It was the perfect storm and perfect setup for them to take advantage of the American population.
Yeah. Well, the worldwide population, really. But,
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking through the lens of Americanism.
Right.
So,
but like I said, this is a global problem, and this is just an extension of it. But this kind of stuff was, like this gentleman is saying in this article, it was already underway whenever you think about the way it was already being set up,
It's almost like they're planning years and decades in advance, and we're not. It says the main thing is that near-term caution taken by free people would have resulted in more saving, and as a consequence, a rising capital base for businesses and entrepreneurs to access on the way to recovery. Natural slowdowns paradoxically fuel the subsequent rebound. Translated, what you've been told about recessions by economists, pundits, and politicians is mostly bunk. This wasn't, nor is it a recession. Rather, it was a forced contraction. Tragic. And what do? They printed money to put people more in debt. Right? So there's more public debt now than there's ever been, because instead of allowing people to do what their instincts told them to do, which is get conservative and start saving in the face of danger, they shut everything down, panicked the populace, resulting in tons of layoffs and firings, got rid of everybody's income, and then started printing money to replace it to create more debt for those very same people. It's a con job.
Yeah. But when you put people in fear, they're not worried about debt in that moment. They're worried about and that's where the power play comes in. You start to worry about how am I going to survive?
Yeah.
When you start to...
Yeah, you'll borrow from anybody if it means you can live anot's day. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. You're willing to rob Peter to pay Paul. That's the whole setup of all of this too.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right about that. Let me pull that window back up because I just blew it away. Coronavirus counterfactual. So, economic growth produces the resources to fight a virus, but this time around, an always obtuse political class outdid itself by choosing economic desperation as the path to the cure, which is kind of the inverse way of saying the same thing you just said. Mm-hmm. There's a China angle to this, though perhaps not what you think. It's known the virus originated there, and the first documented infection dates back to November. November raises a question about when the virus first began spreading. Presumably before that, but since over half don't know they have it, who knows? The main thing is that the virus had been around the global bloc, as it were well before January when Beijing officially acknowledged its existence.
Okay, so here's where I want to interject from a medical standpoint. We know for a fact that we were seeing infections in the U.S. in January. Mm-hmm. Once we started...
The first infections documented
Right.
In reality, though,
But we didn't. But they didn't. They weren't being classified as that because we weren't testing.
right, it
that.
was a new pathogen.
Well, it's not a new pathogen. We just weren't testing them for that. They were being treated like they had some just acute respiratory illness.
They could catch it with PCR as being in the same class as the SARS pathogen, right?
But they never did that. They were only treating these people like you would treat anybody else that came into the hospital with the flu or with
So it was
some
such
kind
a
of an
slow
acute
reaction. It took months because everybody that got sick, that I recall, like there was a big rash of people getting really sick November, December, January.
Absolutely.
And then by the time they raised all the alarm bells and shut everything down, people weren't getting sick anymore for the most part.
Right.
And then they had to pad the numbers.
Right.
And so that's where you get into this PCR bullshit with the
Right.
big error
and then,
rates and stuff.
And then, they legitimately, there is some, lawsuits down the line where they have documented putting people into that did have the virus indeed and put them into a high-risk population,
Yes.
such as a nursing home.
Well, and also with the absolute wrong therapy, like deadly therapy.
Right.
But everybody
won't
knows
get
that.
in-
We're not
yeah.
getting into that.
Yep, we know what the right therapy was.
Okay.
And still is.
So what if China had announced the virus right away? Then we would know they were the enemy. Think about it. Scary as it may be, it's frightening to contemplate because it's impossible an alarmist political class locks down even sooner.
So when they say we would know that China was the enemy, then are they saying that it was weaponized?
Well, I think that's kind of what they're getting at for. If there's two schools
Or
of thought.
engineered?
I don't think it was engineered by the Chinese Communist Party. I think it was engineered by a cabal of scientists who are benefiting from backroom payments by people who want to see this kind of control happen using a device like the coronavirus. The other thing that I don't...
Which I do want to say is mutated 4 times.
Okay. I mean, that's what viruses do. The flu does it every year, 2 or 3 times. So, but here's the thing. China owns the United States in terms of manufacturing capacity. Okay, they have a population of over 1 billion people.
Right.
That's at least 3 times bigger than the United States. We can't manufacture rubber products. We can't manufacture tires. We can't manufacture anything that puts a certain amount of carbon defects into the atmosphere. So consequently, in order to keep tires on our cars, which by itself is a multi-hundred-billion-dollar industry, just with car tires, almost everything has to come from China. Now, there's a few tires that still can be imported from places where we don't have these big, heavy tariffs like Germany. But in order to eliminate that imbalance in trade, and I'm using tires as one particular example, but it also applies to a lot of welded products and a lot of housewares and a lot of clothing, where China has a huge advantage because they pay their people $5 a fucking week to work, and they live 10 deep in a fucking apartment. That's anyway.
Right.
But
Yeah, we know there's a significant wage gap between American workers and China.
So this is again one of the things I disagree with President Trump on, respectfully, is that his answer to that is, okay, anytime we import anything from China,
Tax.
we're going to add a 20 or 25 or 30% tariff to it, which is going to come at the expense of the importer or wholesaler. There are certain industries that were already dying importing stuff from China because there wasn't real value being created by virtue of their simply just importing stuff from China. Now, let me give you 2 examples here. Let's say I have a business where I'm bringing over bicycles from China, mostly fully assembled, ready for final assembly. Right? Is that more or less beneficial than when I have a business where I'm bringing bicycles from an American city, fabricated in that American city, and mostly assembled in that American city? Which one has more value for America?
The one that's here.
Of course. So what Trump is trying to do then is simulate that value by bringing that revenue to the federal government. It's a punitive tax levied on the American people against an enemy. But there's a real easy answer to it if you're China. Because the idea is you put in a tariff and it's supposed to prevent, okay, I don't want to pay 25% more for that Chinese thing. The reality is it's not 25% more. It's like 70% more if you're being real about it. That's the wage gap between China and the United States. Okay, so a guy who's welding steel tubes in China is making $1 an hour. The guy who's doing it here is making $22 to $25 an hour.
Right.
And that's no exaggeration. That's many orders of magnitude different. So no wonder they can kill the United States in terms of importing. So Trump says, we're going to tariff this, we're going to punish the American people, and that's going to hurt China because people aren't going to buy their products anymore, right?
Right.
Now, what is China doing? They're prioritizing countries that don't have a tariff against their products. Now we can't get stuff. But we haven't created factories here to do what they do to replace that capacity, and that's a big problem. All right, getting back to Rona. I'm coming down off that soapbox. Sorry about that. It's just
Looking at time.
Well, it's only an hour. We got 2 hours to go yet. This is a special episode.
Welcome back.
You must have to pee.
No, I don't.
The other thing?
No.
Okay. So
God. Nigel.
So regarding if China had announced the virus right away.
You know how I am when you start talking about economics. I start to like...
You almost passed out right there. Contemplate what it means that the virus started spreading in November and perhaps earlier.
Right.
Was herd immunity achieved before March? And this is the clutch question that they're asking here. This was a question posed by me the weekend before last in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. The American Institute for Economic Research is headquartered there, and that's where the Great Barrington Declaration was written, whatever that is. In response to my question about herd immunity having possibly already asserted itself before the global political meltdown, Oxford professor Sunetra Gupta confirmed that she'd speculated just that in March of 2020, and right as the lockdowns began. If the virus moves around with easy rapidity, why wouldn't it have begun spreading with abandon towards the end of 2019, thus setting the stage for broader immunity before politicians acted like politicians? And
That's
I
a
think
great
that
question.
is the essence of what happened.
Yeah.
I really, really agree with what he's saying here.
And again, from what I've seen, when it comes to testing, and as you said, there's a lot of issues surrounding the testing, and we won't get into the number scheme and everything there, but I can assure you the number of positives that we've had in people that have no symptoms, never had symptoms, never were sick, is or could potentially be proof of herd immunity. They're carrying
especially
it.
when there's no
that's where they
record
say-
keeping
that's
on
where
the
they
number
say-
of secondary tests where it turned out to be negative, right? So people who were positive before and then healed rapidly because they were immune.
Well, they say, this, I lost my train of thought.
That's fine.
When you threw that.
You know what? I
Yeah.
think you may be famished.
You mean it's time to spin the wheel again?
I think you need to spin the wheel of precious Fritos.
Where's it going to land?
It's going to land on...
I can't look at it. You have to tell me my number.
Oh, you're fucked.
Am I right?
14 more Fritos.
Again?
That is your special number tonight.
Oh, my gosh.
Tell us a little bit about the number 5. Dissect the number 14 for us while I count out the Fritos for you.
The number 5.
1 plus 4 equals 5.
Right. Well, it happens to be my life path number.
Okay, what does that mean?
Well,
4, 5, 6.
just give them to me. 9, 10.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 14.
No, wait, 14.
14.
He's trying to.
14 Fritos going down Jasmine's hatch right now. Let's hear that crunch. Oh, jeez. All right, while you're chewing, I'm spinning. Oh, shoot. We got to do the happy birthday, precious Frito. So 30 plus 14 brings us to 44.
44.
We need 11 more Fritos between the two of us.
We can do it. Let's do it now. Let's
to
get
reach
it
our
done.
goal. Okay, spinning.
Come on.
Let's see what the wheel of precious Fritos tells
Coming
us.
at you.
1.
Oh my gosh.
I
Okay.
get 1 Frito.
I'm going to spin while you're eating your one Frito. Apparently, I'm the one that's taking them for the team tonight.
Hey, I had like 15 Fritos earlier. And now you get 5 Fritos.
Oh, we're almost there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 Fritos down the hatch. So that was a total of 6. Mm-hmm. We are up to 50 Fritos. 50 Fritos. You know, there's something that I've been wanting to talk about with you, Jazmine.
Oh, I hope it's my favorite person on Twitter.
What, Ice Cube?
Well, I like Ice Cube, too.
Who's your favorite person on Twitter?
Well, not necessarily my favorite person, but I've been waiting for that awesome drop from Kayleigh.
All right, Kayleigh McEnany. Does anybody else agree
I
that
love her.
she is a frickin' monster?
I love her, man. She is like, I am woman, hear me roar, and gosh, man, she's got some cojones on her that I truly like.
She posted this about 36 hours ago on Twitter.
Is it still there?
I'm sure it is. It has to be. But
Do you think they would deplatform anybody like that?
I mean, they banned Donald Trump Jr. for posting stuff about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden.
But that's a son. But you know, this is actually somebody that holds an official position. Like, do you think they have the cojones to deplatform somebody like that? That's the spokesperson.
They've already censored the White House stuff. They censored DOJ stuff this week about Hillary Clinton. It was I don't know. Maybe it was Hunter Biden. Anyway,
well, I know that we found out that tweet was gone, or the link to the emails is now gone.
That's a DOJ thing, though, itself. The fact that you can't search it anymore has nothing to do with Twitter or big tech. That's a DOJ thing. So
Why?
I don't know. Probably a lawsuit, a secret lawsuit where the Clintons just got together and said, okay, we're going to sue the federal government and scare them. And some backroom judge that likes the Clintons was like, yeah, this will fly. And they got it removed. I don't know.
This can't go on. Okay, go on. Let's go on with her, though.
All right. Okay, how do you pronounce Kayleigh's name?
I'm not even going to try.
Okay, I'm just going to say Kayleigh McEnany. And I've been trying to pronounce her name correctly, but I've heard so many different pronunciations that I think that's how it's pronounced. I know that there's people out there that know how to say it right.
Right.
She tweeted, and this is what made me just be a firm believer, like she can run for president now. I will vote for her.
Just for the sheer veracity.
Okay,
of
she's
her.
probably she's a girl. Mm-hmm. She's far younger. Mm-hmm. And she's very lady-ish, right? She's not like a rough and tumble kind of. She's very not demure, but she's ladylike, right? She looks like she's
a beautiful woman.
She's a beautiful woman, but she has bigger balls than Donald Trump.
She mic drops like I've never seen anybody mic drop the way she does. I mean, I just love her.
So here we go. She tweeted in all caps, Twitter is against us. All caps. The media is against us. All caps. Big tech is against us. All caps. The swamp is against us. All caps. The deep state is against us. All caps. The Hollywood elite is against us. All caps. China is against us. But President Trump has the working man and woman, and nothing can beat that. That's probably...
Oh.
That's pretty awesome. That's a great tweet.
I have goosebumps. It's like the one thing that is so many people have wanted to say, and then she just comes out and it is like...
In an official capacity,
and then
too.
drops it all, and it's just like, oh, I love her.
Yeah, she's good.
That's so she's power.
She's on the page.
Power.
She's on the page. She knows what's going on. And she's edifying the conspiracy theorists. She's sending a wink to the QAnons. I mean, seriously, that
Right.
tweet on the day they dumped X-22 and Praying Medic, that's a wink to the QAnons. Like, dude, we get it. We can't say it yet, but we get it. And I'm
Right.
hoping that,
Well, and like Martin says, it only takes one theory to be true.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I love her.
You can send her a fan mail if you'd like. I'm sure that she'll personally read it.
I doubt it. But I would like that handwritten.
Why don't you tag her?
I would like that handwritten on like a picture of her. And then just say, you're a beast. You are a beast.
She's
I love
a fucking
you.
monster. Well, she's
Yeah.
a monstrous. Okay, let's try to get to 55. We got one more story to cover, and Jazmine is already spinning the wheel of precious Fritos.
Because I want to bring it home for him.
We got to bring it home. Oh,
15.
15 precious Fritos. That's gonna go way past our goal.
That's going to give him 10 to grow on.
That's like and a pinch to grow an inch, right?
But 10 to grow on. Okay.
All right, let me count them out. Do you want 15 for real?
Yeah.
Okay, uno.
This is how the game...
Dos.
Wait, no, that was 2.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. What's 6? Seis.
Yes.
Siete.
Ocho.
Ocho. Oh, ocho.
Nueve.
Nueve.
10.
10.
11.
Once.
12.
Doce.
13.
Trece.
14.
Catorce.
15.
Quince.
That's it.
15. One
Quince.
more.
15.
All right, here it goes. We are there. We are way past 55.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday
to Precious Freedom.
Precious Frito. Precious Freedom 3. Precious Freedom. I'm mangling his name in the hard way. There goes the Fritos down the hatch. For everybody that's listening on the audio version, now you know exactly what it sounds like when Jazmine Star eats a foods. And we also have some sweet treats.
Mm-hmm.
Which, Jazmine, what is your sweet treat consisting of tonight?
Sweet tweet.
Sweet. We're gonna have a sweet tweet later, yeah, when we post the show.
Oh, wait. I'm going to take a picture.
Okay.
Pardon me here if you're watching us
Yeah,
live.
we're gonna do a live selfie. Go ahead and
Yeah.
hold it up
Because
right in front of the wheel of precious Fritos.
Wait, we got to get the Fritos
There we
in
go.
there.
Get it. Take it. Take the picture.
All right.
Mine is chocolate peanut delight. What is yours?
I don't know. Something called Happy something. But look at it. It's pretty.
It's chocolate. Cheers.
Cheers. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, precious Frito. Do we have napkins? I hope. How do you even eat this? This is terrible.
We're just going to take a bite for right now.
It's gonna get smear all over my mustache.
Schmear.
All right, I'm taking a big bite. I'm not taking a baby bite.
No baby bites? Okay.
Mm.
This is going to be so ladylike, too.
Really good.
I love it. Oh, I got it on my nose.
You somehow survived the destruction. Here,
It's on my nose.
your fingers are covered with colors. Here. That was the best birthday snack I've ever had.
Happy birthday, my friend. We love you.
It's all over my. Look at my nose.
Do you want me to lick it?
No. Maybe later. Let's not get too frisky. Don't want to start any rumors. Don't want
No.
to. All right.
But I do love icing.
Well, you know, I love icing too, but have you heard what's going on with Ice Cube lately?
No, you started to bring it up, but I don't.
Well, that was when we were
I've
going
been
through the
so-
outline at the beginning.
But I've been so out of the loop. This is all news to me tonight, so I'm enjoying this a lot.
All right, so Ice Cube basically has come out on Twitter and said, I'm not endorsing Biden-Harris. And he's also disavowed the Trump campaign for obvious reasons. I really can't believe,
Okay.
he's from L.A. Like, I get it, man. Or
Yeah.
no, is he from L.A. or is he
I
from
don't know.
Oakland? It doesn't matter.
So what's the scoop with him? What's his
The scoop is he's getting a ton of blowback now from liberal followers, mostly white, on Twitter about the fact that he won't disavow or that he won't support the Biden-Harris campaign, and that he won't say he's against. Like he's
like he won't.
You have icing on the tip of your nose.
I thought I did. I told you.
There you go. There you go. Is it okay for me? Am I good?
Yeah, you're good. Is it? What color was on my nose?
Red.
Red.
And you were like Rudolph for a minute.
Well, thank you for doing that, Nigel. That was very sweet of you.
So,
I'm just gonna blame it on the encephalitis.
Ice Cube always looked like he's in the absolute best mood ever. And this is the video that has been censored, and you can't play it.
You can't?
Yeah, It says the media could not be played. You go to reload it, it shows the thumbnail, and then that's it.
Did you send it to yourself in an email? Because
No.
I found that when I do that, sometimes I can preserve it that way.
I didn't screen cap it. Yeah, you take it offline, right? You save it, right, in the place where they can't get to it.
Oh, jeez.
But basically what he does in this video is he says, look, I'm not a Democrat. I don't see how Biden-Harris helps black people.
Mm-hmm.
And although I don't see how Donald Trump helps black people, I'm not recommending that you vote against him. Right? That's a very politically safe thing to say, and he's getting murdered for it amongst his own supporters, which is the Hollywood elite.
Yeah.
And it's mostly white people that are pissed about it.
Speaking of Hollywood elite, that reminds me of the naked ballot PSA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're going to talk about. So briefly explain to everybody what that's about.
Okay, so a bunch of, again, we're talking about the Hollywood elite and everything. They went and did a PSA about what a naked ballot is and how to avoid it for mail-in voting and know the rules in your state and blah, 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 and how they have 2 envelopes. But they used the premise of sex, and being naked to make their point. And, it was...
But isn't that how Hollywood makes every point? Right?
But the thing was, and I think you brought this up, that some of the people who were very passionate about the Me Too movement, a couple of them are the same ones that are posing naked during this PSA.
So here's how the conversation goes. The PSA is a pro-left idea.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. But it uses a meme that was derided 2 years earlier. Mm-hmm. Okay. And they're going to say that, well, we're allowed to be naked. Otherwise, you're victim blaming.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I don't think the people that came up with Me Too get to use nudity and overt sexuality as a way to defend a new political idea with only 2 years behind us. It's it's insane. And what I figured out about these, I'm going to just call them leftists, right?
Right. And it's sad because some of them, I see this stuff and, it makes me sad because some of them, I've really enjoyed their entertainment. So far, this year, it's so many of them. It's
celebrity letdown, man.
Yes, my whole level of respect for some of them, it has
it's gone.
It's gone. Even one of the ones that we would watch the YouTube video and everything. Let me just say, now we know what Olaf looks like whenever he's melting.
Yeah. Yes, it's
after seeing him naked on this naked ballot
nobody
thing.
wants to see him naked anyway, but whatever.
But I'm just saying, it was to see people that like that participating. We've seen the participation of The Rock in his supposed interview, and how he didn't make up his mind to make his endorsement until after he interviewed them. But yet it was clear when you watch the video.
Dude, these guys are part of the system.
It's just like there's
anything
been
in
so
that
much.
Anything in that
So
county is
much.
controlled by the people who want to take liberty away and evoke this culture of shaming, public shaming, mob shaming, and making it okay for 3 people to tell 2 people what the hell
Yeah.
they're supposed to fucking do, just because there's one more person.
Right.
And that's not that's mob rule. That's not democracy, and that's certainly not a republic, which is what we live in.
Right.
But
Yeah.
about the Me Too thing, like, it's interesting to me how all these leftists have to do is believe that they're right about the current issue.
And they forget about the past issue that they were so passionate about defending.
And when challenged on it, it doesn't matter to them because
No.
they're right now.
Right.
Okay? And that's why
narcissism.
they're progressives. No, it's progressivism.
Well, I'm going to call it what it is, and that's a narcissistic personality.
Yeah. Well, maybe the celebrities are narcissistic. The people that vote for them are progressives.
Yeah.
And they want to constantly change and redefine, and they think that certain ideals are not permanent. They think that certain ideals are not everlasting.
They were going to be in for a rude awakening if things don't go the way that we would like to see them go. And something changes, man.
Careful. You don't want to get us banished. We don't want to get banished.
That's why I'm keeping it very vague, but I think anybody that knows and has followed us will know what I mean. If it goes in that direction and they think that it's something that can change after 4 years, you're in for a rude awakening.
Yeah. Well, ballots over bullets, right? Ballots over bullets. Get out there, vote. Vote for liberty. Vote for freedom. Vote for precious freedom.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
And
Vote for being able to have your constitutional rights stay your constitutional rights.
especially the first 10, right? The Bill of
Oh
Rights.
my gosh.
Yep.
That we can have freedom of speech, that we don't see some of the most brilliant minds being deplatformed, and they've done nothing.
Incredibly brilliant, incredibly God-gifted, spiritually gifted, incredibly brilliant people just being bonked by these assholes with all the money in San Francisco.
It's got to stop. It has to stop.
Yeah, it has to. So, we are going to be live streaming on election night. We
Yep.
have no idea how it's going to go. This is different. This is a first-time thing.
Well, yeah. Who knows how it's going to go, because they keep trying to say this BS too about, well, we might not know the results for.
Well, they're trying to prep everybody for all the lawsuits and all the different state laws and so forth. It's going to be a bonanza for all the college-educated reporters, all the bachelor's degree in journalism reporters that work for all the big media. They're going to be like, in the state of Ohio, there's 2.5 weeks between blah 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 blah, blah. And it's going to go on.
I want to just shout out a little video, that one that I showed you.
Okay.
And everything, just because I think it's, if anybody hasn't seen it, it's funny, and at the same time, it's very eye-opening.
Which video is that?
That one, Students for Trump, the Biden versus Biden debate.
Oh, yeah.
You have
YouTube
to
search
see-
Biden
yeah.
versus Biden debate.
If you haven't
pretty
seen
good.
it's worth the watch. It's about a little over 7.5 minutes long, but you'll be thoroughly entertained, is what I'll say. And it's not all gaffes. It's past versus present statements, and the debate between
Biden
old
and
Biden versus new Biden.
And old Biden is in some cases only a few months old too. Like,
Right.
He's really flip-flopped.
You'll actually see him, in his mask, and in one group say one thing and in the next contradict the other thing. So, it's an eye opener, and it's worth the watch.
As is Trouble in Paradise right here on YouTube.
Yeah.
Jasmine Star, how else can people find us besides YouTube?
Besides YouTube, you can find us at Chipcast239 on Twitter, Trouble239 on Instagram, trouble@trouble239.com to email us. Audio versions are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Stitcher. And reach out to our Patreon at patreon.com/trouble239.
And Precious Frito, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, man.
These Precious Fritos are for you. Good night.